Well, I got Mount Valhalla right here behind me, and we're gonna see if the Norse gods are pleased with what Mora has crafted in their Ashwood series, and particularly this largest in that series, the Lock. And I went over, picked this up for $280 recently at Blade HQ, and we are going to thump on this thing like crazy to see if this can stand up to the Mora reputation. Does it make sense? And ultimately, will the gods be pleased, or will Ragnarok begin because of what has been created with this tool? We will find out today. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I'm Aaron, and this is Gideon's Tactical. Now we're gonna start things off with the attributes that are impressive with the tool, followed up by a few shortcomings that I definitely see in just the design before we look at competitive options, and I have quite a few when we're talking about almost $300. Now the blade profile absolutely connects with me. They hit a home run in this aspect. I love the two-tone color on the coating. It's not necessary because it's on stainless steel, but it sure looks good. And it's going to be 4.2 inches overall blade length, and then a 3.9 cutting on an 1/8 of an inch thick stock that basically holds that all the way down to the tip. And what's going to set it apart from other Scandi knives from Mora and just a lot of other companies in general is the swedge or clip that they decided to go with. It has a more aggressive stance than most other knives that you'll find like this. It actually reminds me a lot of like the SRK from Cold Steel or the Falkneven S1. So it has a more aggressive stance. It looks good. It's a little bit better at piercing than other woodscraft knives, but it doesn't lag in the bushcraft capability because they kept that thickness and that flat portion all the way near the tip, so the tip is very tough. I really cranked on this thing and I was very pleased with its durability. Got a really excellent 90-degree spine as well, so it will scrape very easily as well as throw those sparks without issue, getting a fire going for you without trouble. And then of course it has a Scandi grind. Mora's been doing those forever, and it is really dialed in. Very high performing for woodscraft. Easy to get feather sticks going with this tool to help you with that fire, to do deep cuts, to get down into the meat of the wood, to remove lots of material at once, but still giving you durability to be able to baton with. I've done lateral testing with this, piercing with it. Very pleased with that, and still can do a lot of utility tasks as well. Cordage, very easy to go through, and then even like polymer tubing and things like that. If you're using it in a more of a utility role, it's gonna have a lot of capability with that Scandi grind, and only really lag with food prep. It's not my first grind choice, particularly of how low it is to do food prep and, you know, make a meal around a campsite or, you know, use in that capacity. Now, before we talk about steel though, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. I can tell you that there's one piece of equipment that I always take with me when I'm in a group, when I go on my adventures, and that's my Rocky Talkie. Nate, do you copy?
Papa Bear, this is Big Grizzly, I copy.
And that's why I'm super glad that they're today's sponsor. Because these Rocky Talkies just give you so much more than your off-the-shelf two-way radios you're going to find at any box store. They run on lithium-ion battery packs so that they have much longer battery life. They are going to be less susceptible to cold weather conditions, and they're rechargeable so you can keep using the same battery pack. And for a 2-watt radio, the clarity and distance power is quite impressive. I have personally experienced over 11 miles of line of sight across a lake with my wife, and we're able to communicate very easily. And then my brother and I were able to communicate over 3.5 miles away from each other in Wyoming with wooded conditions. So you guys are gonna go head on over that ridge line to go do some fishing. Yepers. And take those walkie-talkies. Let's see if we can get some signal here in a bit.
Yeah, I can hear everything you're saying perfectly fine.
So they went over the ridge line and down back over to Cutthroat Lake. And so guys, I encourage you to check out the link in the description below this video where you can see all the different capabilities that the Rocky Talkie system and their radios have to offer. And don't forget about that exclusive promo code that I have for you, the viewers, which will give you 10% off your purchase. So guys, check out that link and hop on over to Rocky Talkie, because I'm just scratching the surface of the capabilities and performance that these radios have. So the steel is culprit number one. On Mora's website, they say this is recycled stainless steel. That's not reassuring to anyone when they see that. I'm sure there are like political and environmental reasons why they have started doing that on their website. From our research and understanding of the knife community, and from reaching out to Mora and I've read posts, I've read blogs trying to figure it out. Our understanding is that it is Sandvik 12C27 steel. Now that is steel that Mora has been using for a long time. They have that dialed in. It's very tough, very rust resistant, and easy to put an edge on. But that's the same stainless steel on this $20 companion from Mora. This has the exact same blade steel, and it's $20. So obviously Mora sees the value of it being about $20, and many of us in the knife community would put it in that kind of realm just because the edge doesn't hold for very long. I'm already seeing that experience from all my work. I'm already gonna have to hone the edge on it. Not a big deal, about probably 10 strokes on a ceramic rod, and I'm gonna be ready to rock and roll, but it's not gonna hold its edge for very long in comparison to other $280 knives. And just to give you some perspective, I mean, here is a Hella Gup made in Norway from the exact same steel. Beautiful tool, actually gonna be even a little bit longer, I believe. Yeah, just slightly longer in blade length. It has a rat tail tang all the way out the back with curly birch. Beautiful, beautiful blade. Leather sheath, and we're gonna get to all this stuff, but this is like $130. And guys, if you're enjoying this type of content and you're a knife addict, gear lover, I invite you to hit that like button and to consider subscribing, becoming part of the Gideon's Tactical crew here, and make sure to hit that bell icon so that you can be notified every week when I put up new content on breakdowns on gear and equipment just like this. Now, before I get to the handle, which I definitely have some big hangups in just design ergonomics, the other really big positive is the leather sheath. They've done a really good job with this leather sheath. It's beautiful, well stitched, dense leather all the way through. Got the nice Mora logo there. Dangler, it's right-handed only from everything I understand, but easily fits on the belt. I hiked with this. It rides very nicely. It's got medium tension, I would say. You can wet mold it if you want to. And then they do offer, for more money, like, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks or something, there's some sort of like extra dangler feature. I mean, it's flush with the handle, which I think is a positive, so that's a good thing. Now to these Ashwood handles, which is what the knife series is named after. Ashwood is a hardwood. It's on the cheaper end of hardwoods, but it's, a dense hardwood. Now, it's going to be full tang constructed with 3 screws across holding it into place. This is Mora's first dive into this style of tool. So that's what a lot of people were super excited about. The durability is absolutely there. And the scales themselves are very rounded. It's like 4.6 inches overall handle length. And the thickness, maximum thickness, is 0.88. So, I mean, that's really good. And my understanding is this is the aspect that's hand done. Someone is hand milling, sanding down, and contouring these. And for the most part, they seem to match up really well. I do have 2 issues, and hopefully you guys are gonna see this on frame. It was hit too low right up here. I can tell that there's like a slight, like right here. And I have that same issue at one other point right there, where there just seems to be like a little bit of the wood was removed, a little bit more than it should have right there. Now I can't see through the scale or anything like that, or through to the scale, but that's just like, it's hand done, and I can kind of tell that it's not like perfection or that a machine did it. So take that with a grain of salt. A little bit of a flare out the back there, just to kind of keep it in place. You can get a little bit of wrist flicking done. It's not going to have a lanyard hole. The issue for me mainly comes in the crowning of the spine. The spine is crowned all the way around, so fully, just like ever so slightly past the scales. Now, some companies can do that really well. Mora, I feel, fell somewhat short because the sides have not been chamfered or rounded. Like, as an example, my Lion Steel T5. The T5 also has a crowned spine slightly above the scales, but it has no sharp lip. It's rounded. I don't even really realize that it's there in the hand, particularly when I'm doing hard push cuts. I don't notice it. And so since Mora did not round the edges, I feel it more. Now, it's not unbearable. I can absolutely still do a ton of woodscraft with it, but you're going to find that, say, that Lion Steel is going to be more ergonomic, and you can definitely feel it. Whereas if they were either just flush or they had chamfered and rounded those lips ever so slightly, it would have been more enjoyable to use for extended carving tasks. And guys, since we're looking at a lot of competitive options, I will have links in the description below this video over to the affiliate networks I regularly partner with for all of the different blades we're seeing, as well as this Ashwood series of Mora knives, so that if you do want to try one out for yourself and see how it stacks up to your other blades in your collection, I always appreciate it when you visit and purchase through those hyperlinks. It's free for you. It helps me continue to do what I do. Now here is a very good competitive option that really what this Mora should have been priced at and is very competitive with. This is a Joker Ember made in Spain out of Sandvik 14C 28N steel. Better steel from what we understand is on this. Excellent. I love that type of steel. Going to have a good edge, good toughness. We got full tin construction on these beautiful pinned in handles. No crowning issues or anything like that. 90-degree spine, a hair thicker, like 0.14, I think. So not quite 5/32, but close to it on that right there. Scandi grind, drop point, beautiful. Beautifully done leather sheath with a dangler button snap included and a matching fire steel, about 110, 120 bucks maybe. And if this Mora was coming in at that price range, I'd be like, yeah, totally, very competitive, great option, way to go, Mora. Like, definitely in the running for, you know, compact bushcraft knives that are full tang. But for, I mean, almost $180 more, there's no, I'm not seeing it anywhere. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Now, I want to run in two knives that are more around that $300 price point for some perspective. Here's the Reef Knives F4. Made America 3V steel, CPM 3V, and the Bradford Knives 5.5. Guardian, CPM 3V steel. There's lots of different steel variants. I think he's even doing some Magna Cut now with those. These are excellent blades. The fit and finish is superb. No crowning issues, good ergonomics. 3V steel is a world away in performance compared to the Sandvik on here. And just the finish is like, you can tell better. Leather Kydex options. You know, and again, full tin construction, lots of variants, more customization. The Reef is like 330, and the Bradford, I think, comes in at about 280. So right around that same price point, maybe even a little less, maybe even 260 on this one. I can't remember off the top of my head. And there's lots of options, like handle scale options, steel options, you know, depending on the Bradford, and, you know, obviously 3V is excellent on these. So these are $300, let's say, knives. This, which is right in basically with tax $300, this is just not in finish and not in materials close to what else is on the market. So guys, I know I've been super rough on the blade, particularly during that competitive option range. And if you're gonna ask me, has Ragnarok started because of this and it's kind of the end of the world? In some aspects, totally. Like, it just doesn't make sense, and I think in many ways Mora just jumped the shark in the pricing. Now, I will say that the profile and blade design I totally love, and what I would love to see is this exact same, keep it exactly the same, but throw a Mora companion handle on this, like just whoop, bubble it around and make it a rubberized handle, keep the full tin construction, and, you know, put a polymer sheath on it and charge us 60, 70 bucks for it. I would buy that all day long. And this blade profile could definitely compete with, I would say, tools like the F1, say, or S1 from Falkneven because of its profile. And then you would get it with that, you know, molded handle. It would even accentuate the ergonomics a little bit more, cut down on price, and would be an excellent sub-$100, you know, crossover compact blade. So that's me, guys. That's my mileage and my perspective, but I look forward to hearing from you guys. What's your thoughts on the Mora Ashwood series, particularly if you own one? How has it been holding up? How does it perform for you? And if you have any questions, please throw a comment below, and I look forward to reading them and doing my best to answer whatever questions you may have. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.